The San Francisco 49ers have quietly added a player to their roster that hasn't been getting nearly enough attention. In fact, it seems like most people are overlooking just how valuable this addition could be for the team's success this season. I want to break down exactly why this player is a potential game changer, and why the general consensus might be missing the bigger picture here. Before diving into that though, I want to throw a question your way. What do you think the ceiling is for this 49ers team this year? How many wins do you realistically see them racking up? There's a young defense that could still be finding its footing, which might lead to some inconsistencies or shaky performances throughout the season. At the same time, the team has a strong core of veterans on both sides of the ball, seasoned players who know what it takes to win, mixed with some developing talent and open competition in training camp. Not every position has been nailed down, which leaves some question marks hovering over the roster. So where do you put the limit? 12 wins, 13? I'm hoping it's at least into the double digits, because anything less and maybe we're not on the same page when it comes to expectations. Looking at the bigger picture, there's been some chatter about shedding Deebo Samuel and how that might impact the team. But honestly, losing Deebo doesn't seem like the end of the world here. The core of the roster remains intact, and that's what really matters. If the 49ers can get consistent production from Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearl, who showed glimpses of real promise last season, the offense should be ready to compete at a high level. Kyle Shanahan's offense has had its ups and downs, but overall he's proven time and again that he can make things happen even when players rotate in and out or quarterbacks change. That adaptability gives a lot of fans reason for optimism. Of course, injuries were a huge factor last year, knocking out Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk, which definitely threw a wrench in the team's rhythm and effectiveness on offense. So if the key players, especially Trent Williams, stay healthy, there's every reason to believe this offense will be firing on all cylinders again. Defensively, the return of Robert Saleh as coordinator brings renewed energy. You've still got Nick Bosa anchoring the line, along with 3 top draft picks from recent years, who are developing into forceful contributors. Fred Warner remains a rock at linebacker, and the secondary boasts solid talent like Demetor Leonard. There's a feeling among some analysts that the team is just a couple of young players away from truly recapturing the form that took them to multiple Super Bowls in recent seasons. And when you factor in the promise of rising sophomores like Ricky Pearl, it becomes clear that the team's future is bright. If those players can continue their growth trajectory, it's worth noting that some fans and observers don't fully buy into the idea that injuries were the sole reason for last season's struggles. There are debates about other factors, including personnel decisions and coaching challenges. But focusing on the positives, if Trent Williams, who is arguably the linchpin of the offensive line, can maintain his health and dominance, the entire offense will benefit immensely. His presence alone opens up opportunities and stabilizes the unit. On the defensive side, having a strong and motivated Robert Saleh calling the shots should elevate the defense's performance. One of the most underrated moves this offseason was the signing of Demarcus Robinson. Many people haven't talked about him enough, but he could be one of the biggest steals for the 49ers, although there's a chance he might miss the first few games due to injury over the course of the entire season. Robinson's potential impact is significant. He's a seasoned veteran with 9 years in the league and was pushed out of his previous team by the arrival of a superstar like Devontae Adams. That's nothing to be ashamed of when you have someone like Adams coming in target shares. Naturally, get squeezed. Robinson's numbers last season tell a compelling story. He caught 31 passes for over 500 yards, averaging more than 16 yards per reception. Among all wide receivers, he ranks 6th in yards per catch, which shows his ability to stretch the field and make big plays. He also scored 7 touchdowns, putting him 18th in the league in that category, despite having fewer receptions than many others. This means that when the team needed him, most especially in the red zone, Robinson was reliable. Add to that he ranked 3rd in the NFL in average depth of target last year, reinforcing the idea that he's a deep threat capable of changing the game with one catch. For a quarterback like Brock Purdy, having a receiver like Robinson, who can be counted on in critical moments and stretch defenses vertically, is a huge asset. On top of all this, the team's salary cap situation and roster management have been handled cleverly. Even though there's been a reset in some areas, the 49ers remain near the top in cash spending, showing that the front office is still committed to fielding a competitive team. The expectation for the team, according to some insiders, is a trip to at least the divisional round of the playoffs. That's a realistic goal given the talent on the roster and the schedule ahead. Getting back to the conference championship game, where they've been multiple times in recent years, is still the ultimate target, but making the divisional round should be the baseline. For measuring success, this is especially encouraging considering the team's performance last year and the roster changes they've had to make. Some of the players lost weren't necessarily marquee names, but still contributed to the team's culture and depth, like Travaris Ward and Hufanga. Though the latter could be frustrating at times, every team has its ups and downs with role players. The main takeaway is that the 49ers should enter the season with solid expectations and a healthy dose of optimism. Now let's circle back to Robert Saleh, whose return as defensive coordinator could be a game changer. He brings a different kind of energy and passion compared to when he was also tasked with head coaching duties elsewhere. Freed from those distractions, Saleh is expected to inject fresh juice into the defense, making it more aggressive and dynamic. Pair that with the potential return to health of Christian McCaffrey, who's expected to be ready this season despite the lack of a high-profile replacement in the draft. And the team's offensive and defensive balance looks promising. If everything clicks, Trent Williams staying healthy, Saleh's defense firing on all cylinders, and McCaffrey back at full strength, the 49ers could very well win 11 games or more. Given their schedule, which some consider among the easiest in the league, and the experience and talent spread across the roster, that number seems entirely achievable. Of course, there will be growing pains. Young players will make mistakes, and games where some contributors don't perform at their best will happen. But the team has also brought in other players like Bryce Huff who add depth and give reasons to stay excited. Beyond the young talent already on the radar, there's a sense that some lesser-known players might emerge and surprise everyone this season. Whether it's someone like Renardo Green or Dominic Puny, or even lesser-known names like Neer or Jordan Watkins, the roster has hidden gems waiting to shine. That potential for unexpected breakout performances adds another layer of excitement to the season ahead. We're just days away from training camp and the anticipation is building. The off-season grind is finally over, and it's time to see how all these pieces come together on the field. Fans and analysts alike are eager to watch the young players develop, the veterans lead, and the team push toward their goals. With so much talent, strategic moves, and a coaching staff that has shown resilience and adaptability, there's a genuine reason to believe this season could be special for the 49ers. As the new season approaches, the focus intensifies on how the 49ers will manage to blend their established veterans with emerging young talent, a balancing act that often defines the success or failure of any NFL team. The depth chart reflects this blend in almost every position group, where experience and youth intersect, sometimes in uneasy harmony, but often with promising results. It's important to remember that football, perhaps more than any other sport, relies heavily on timing, chemistry, and cohesion, elements that can't be built overnight, especially on a roster that has seen considerable turnover in recent years. This challenge has been a narrative thread for the 49ers, who have had to navigate injuries, trades, and shifting roles, all while trying to maintain a standard of excellence that fans have come to expect. One of the key storylines heading into this season revolves around the quarterback position. Brock Purdy's journey from a latter-round draft pick to the team's starting quarterback has been nothing short of remarkable. His poise under pressure, combined with his ability to execute Kyle Shanahan's complex offense, has already won over many skeptics. However, the offseason has brought its own questions. Can Purdy build on his impressive rookie campaign? Will defenses be able to exploit weaknesses that perhaps went unnoticed last year? More importantly, how will the offensive line protect him, and how will the receiving corps continue to develop chemistry with their young quarterback? The addition of Demarcus Robinson adds a layer of depth and experience to the receiving group, which should alleviate some pressure, but the key will be consistency across the board. Purdy's growth is central to the team's offensive potential, and the coaching staff is banking on his continued development. The offensive line itself is a critical component of the team's success. With Trent Williams anchoring the left tackle position, the line gains not only talent but also leadership. Williams' ability to neutralize elite pass rushers has been a game-changer in past seasons, and his health will be closely monitored. The rest of the line features a mix of veterans and younger players, and the challenge will be maintaining cohesion and minimizing mistakes that can disrupt the timing of the offense. Offensive line play often flies under the radar in casual discussions, but it is the foundation upon which all offensive success is built. If this unit performs at a high level, it will not only protect Purdy, but also create running lanes for Christian McCaffrey, whose return to full health is eagerly anticipated. McCaffrey's dynamic style of play, which blends rushing and receiving, makes him an invaluable weapon His ability to stretch defenses horizontally and vertically adds a dimension that opponents must account for, often creating opportunities for other players. On the defensive side, the return of Robert Saleh as coordinator is expected to bring renewed vigor and innovation. Saleh's previous work as defensive coordinator showed his capacity to design schemes that confuse and pressure offenses while capitalizing on the team's strengths. His focus on aggressive pass rush and disciplined coverage could revitalize the defensive unit. The presence of Nick Bosa, one of the league's premier defensive ends, ensures that the pass rush will remain a potent force. Bosa's relentless pursuit of quarterbacks disrupts game plans and creates turnover opportunities. Supporting Bosa are several promising young defenders, many of whom have been developed over recent draft classes and are beginning to come into their own. These players bring energy and athleticism, but the challenge lies in maintaining focus and limiting mental errors. Discipline and experience go hand in hand, and Saleh's coaching is expected to bridge that gap. Fred Warner continues to be a cornerstone at linebacker, providing leadership and playmaking ability. Warner's ability to read offenses and adjust on the fly is a huge asset, and his presence anchors the middle of the defense. Alongside Warner, the secondary boasts talent like Demidor Leonard and other emerging players whose coverage skills will be tested against some of the league's most dynamic passing attacks. The secondary's ability to hold up in coverage will be crucial, particularly given the emphasis on passing in today's NFL. Defensive backs must be versatile, capable of defending both the deep ball and the quick slant, and they must be able to tackle reliably in open space. The development of these players and the overall defensive cohesion could determine the team's ability to compete against high-powered offenses. Special teams, often an overlooked phase, have also received attention. Reliable kicking and punting can affect field position, a factor that influences the flow of the game. Moreover, the return game has the potential to create momentum-changing plays. If the 49ers can capitalize on special teams opportunities, it will add a valuable edge in close contests. Coaching and player focus in this area will be critical, as even minor mistakes can lead to costly points for opponents. Off the field, team culture and leadership remain vital. Veteran players have taken on mentoring roles for younger teammates, fostering an environment that encourages hard work and resilience. This culture was instrumental in navigating the adversity faced in previous seasons. Maintaining this atmosphere will be essential as the team seeks to improve and meet the lofty expectations set by fans and analysts alike. The locker room chemistry often translates to performance on the field, especially in tight games, where mental toughness can tip the balance. Looking beyond individual games, the schedule presents both challenges and opportunities. While some critics have labeled the 49ers slate as one of the easier ones in the league, this can be a double-edged sword. Expectations rise with perceived ease, and pressure mounts to deliver consistent wins. The team must guard against complacency and stay focused throughout the long grind of the season. Key divisional matchups will be particularly important, as these games often decide playoff seeding and can carry extra emotional weight. Rivalries add intensity and demand peak performance. Injuries remain an ever-present risk. The physical toll of an NFL season can derail even the most talented teams. Depth will be tested, and how well the backups perform when called upon could shape the season's outcome. The front office's efforts to build a roster with capable reserves reflect an understanding of this reality. The health and availability of star players like McCaffrey and Williams are especially crucial, but contributions from less heralded players will also play a role. Offensive creativity is another aspect where the 49ers could excel. Kyle Shanahan's reputation as one of the league's most innovative offensive minds is well-earned. His ability to design plays that maximize his players' strengths while exploiting opponent weaknesses sets the stage for exciting football. The integration of new personnel, including Robinson and other receivers, provides fresh options and keeps defenses guessing. The running game, supported by a versatile backfield and a sturdy offensive line, offers balance and control. Maintaining this balance is key to sustaining drives and managing the clock effectively. The mental aspect of the game, including preparation and in-game adjustments, cannot be overlooked. The coaching staff's experience and ability to adapt during games will be tested. In a league where marginal gains often determine winners, attention to detail is paramount. The coaching staff has emphasized discipline and execution in practices, aiming to reduce penalties and mental mistakes that can cost points or extend opponent drives. These subtle factors often separate good teams from great ones. Fan support, too, is an intangible yet powerful factor. The enthusiasm and energy at home games create an atmosphere that can intimidate opponents and lift the home team, the 49ers. Fan base is known for its passion and loyalty, and as the team seeks to return to playoff prominence, that support will be more important than ever. The bond between players and fans can inspire peak performances, especially in critical moments. In summary, the 49ers are poised for a season filled with both promise and challenges. The convergence of veteran leadership, emerging talent, strategic coaching, and a relatively favorable schedule creates a scenario ripe for success. However, the path is not without obstacles. Injuries, consistency, and execution will all play defining roles. The team's ability to adapt and overcome adversity will ultimately determine how far they advance. As the season unfolds, every game will serve as a test of the team's resilience and potential. Each win will build momentum, while losses will offer lessons and opportunities for growth. The 49ers have shown the capability to compete at the highest levels, and the hope is that this season will mark a return to that elite status. For fans, players, and coaches alike, the journey promises to be an exciting one filled with highs, lows, and everything in between. The stage is set, the players are ready, and the anticipation is palpable. Now it's time to watch it all come together on the gridiron. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. And a stunning twist that has sent shockwaves through the NFL rumor mill. Whispers are swirling about the possibility of Brandon Ayuk being traded to the Washington Commanders. While nothing has been officially confirmed yet, sources close to the matter hint that this could be one of the most unexpected moves of the season, potentially reshaping the wide receiver landscape across the league. Brandon Ayuk, known for his explosive speed and reliable hands, has been a key figure in his current team's offense, quickly emerging as a dynamic playmaker. His ability to stretch the field and make clutch catches has earned him recognition as one of the league's promising young talents. Yet speculation now suggests that the Commanders, eager to bolster their receiving corps, might be setting their sights on Ayuk as a centerpiece to energize their passing attack. The rumors suggest that Washington's front office is looking to make a bold statement, possibly swapping draft picks or other assets to secure Ayuk's services. This move would not only add a new weapon to their offense, but could signal a shift in their strategy, aiming for a more aggressive aerial assault under their coaching staff. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing, trying to piece together what this trade might mean for both teams involved. If the trade goes through, it could dramatically impact the Commanders' offense, providing their quarterback with a versatile and talented target capable of breaking defenses open. On the flip side, Ayuk's former team would lose a critical piece of their offensive puzzle, prompting questions about how they plan to fill the void left by his departure. While the NFL trade deadline is still some time away, the speculation around Brandon Ayuk's potential move to Washington is fueling endless discussions across social media and sports talk shows. Some insiders believe the trade could happen sooner rather than later, while others caution that negotiations are still in very early stages.